of all, thank you, USA Water Polo, Chris Ramsey, Stephanie, Maya. It was awesome. It was great. Thank you for getting this part organized. And it's important. Brent and the Hall of Fame Committee. I think this is a big deal. And I think it's really important that we have the Hall of Fame. I stand up here as an individual going in, but it's so many people that we touch and get connected to and what we do. And it's been a pretty long career. I kind of did a little math, but 45 years of this sport now. And I'm still having a freaking great time. And it's still wonderful. And we're here because of water polo. And the Hall of Fame gives us an opportunity to come together, see people we haven't seen in a while. And it's really important for our sport. And I think that part's great. I get a little emotional. It usually doesn't happen. It's usually in the circle. So this notepad. So let me, a few stories. So, and a few people to recognize. I got a lot of people. You end up, when you start thinking about this stuff, but the reason I always had a paper, I've had like a yellow pad or anything, even with the kids on now, I need like something that I have. So I was in San Antonio, Texas, I forget the year, with Tom Hermstead. He took me with a clinic in San Antonio. I think it's working. Yeah. And I was a pretty good player. I played with Tom in 1981, and he asked me to go along with him to a clinic, and I was supposed to talk on 6-on-5. Played the 6 spot, pretty good, pretty sharp player, pretty smart. So I'm standing up in front of these coaches in San Antonio, and I'm going to talk about 6-on-5. And those of you who know me now, but this is going to seem really crazy, nothing came out. I couldn't get it out. I couldn't talk. I couldn't talk in front of people. And I think Tom just kind of pushed me aside, probably thinking, oh, that was a great idea to bring this guy. I'm going to have to work my butt off all weekend because he's not going to say a word. But I was on the flip side where people impact your lives and where it goes and how do you get here? I'm standing up in front of you now going in the Hall of Fame. So I worked with Tom, and he was him and Ken Hamdorf ran swim lessons, and I was a swim instructor. And we had a life-saving and first aid course. And part of that course was you had to get in the classroom and you had to actually teach. Tom told me that was my job. I think I quit. I know I got upset. He hung in there with me, put me in front of a podium, put me in front of people, and I had to talk. And honestly, I haven't stopped talking since, most of you know, during that time. But that moment and that mentoring or put you in that type of situation, it leads you. I mean, we all need people that are going to be helpful and beneficial. And I saw Tom's name on the list, and it made me think. We were talking at the table, like trying to have a pause, like if you could ever just push pause sometimes. And I think all of us lead these lives that are just like 100 miles an hour, crazy, you're going fast all the time. So in 91, I got a phone call coming back just right after Christmas. And on the answering machine was Coach Bill Barnett had called. And just kind of left a message like, Baker, call me. So I was like, okay, I'm not playing with you. I don't know why he's calling me, but that's really scary. So I call him. And I have no idea why he's calling me. He was calling for me to be an assistant coach with the '92 Olympic team. And they had an opening and playing. And so in this crazy world that we have, in a 1-year time period, I ended up being a UCLA men's head coach, playing in a championship game, which I'm going to get to with Chris. And also, at the same time, then going to the Olympic Games. I got to coach Craig Wilson. As far as that, I got to spend every 2 weeks, 1 day with Terry Schroeder up at Pepperdine training. Education of my lifetime. Absolute education of my lifetime in all aspects of sport. To see that aspect of international water polo, to fall in love with international water polo, and then to be in that situation as you go. Willie was an amazing athlete. He kind of told me what we needed to do, and I thought that was a good idea. And so what he did, but just the doors that got open, how you approach things, how you train, how you compete, tactics and things like that was phenomenal. But if that phone call doesn't happen and things, it's just interesting. That's saying then just kind of pointing out a few things Hall of Fame wise. And I'll get a few more things going and I'll speed up here. Got the UCLA women's job. December 93, I think it was. Somewhere around there. First phone call. Called Sandy Nita. I called Sandy. I had no idea what I'm doing. Who do I go? Who are the kids? She gave me the list of recruits. One of them turned out to be Nicole Payne. Where we're coming, Jennifer McFerrin. During these times, this is what you need to do. She's the true foundation. I get a lot of credit. All we were doing during our time period was just carrying it on and trying to make it work from what has happened from before. And that's all we try to grow the sport. We try to make our athletes accountable. We try to give back as much as we could. And all we were doing was just carrying on what was already established during that time. I think we did a good job of carrying on, but that was really our responsibility. And she's been the person that's the key with women's water polo and what's happened during that time. And Sandy, I've always been thankful for that. If I stand up here, just a few things I got to recognize just because publicly and had a tremendous impact, and I want to make sure I say a few things. My high school coach, Coach John Lowell, tremendously, that's why I coach. He made me fall in love with coaching. Part of what I do now is make kids fall in love with playing water polo. I want to be a coach because he was a coach. I spent all that time with him, and he was open, he was generous. He was a water polo nerd also and a coaching nerd, so I heard all the stories and made me fall in love with coaching. I've been coaching since my senior year in high school during that time. Ken Linger gave me my first job in college. Ken, Monty, and Rich Foster, so the Long Beach Mafia. Spent a tremendous time with the Long Beach Mafia during that time. They were open. I'm a youngster. I get to hang out. I get to listen and do those things, but they were tremendously influential. Dr. Puffer at UCLA was a key mentor for me. Adam Kokorian at UCLA. We did great things at UCLA during that time period. Adam's doing a phenomenal job with the women's program, taking it to heights that none of us could imagine, and we should all give a round of applause to the women's program. Two people I don't want to forget during the time period because I'll fit. One is Brent with the Hall of Fame committee, but also Women's International Chair back in the day. And Megan Hernandez was a warrior during my time period. And she was awesome and very great, beneficial for me and our career as far as that. I have to mention Bruce Wygo in the USOC. Bruce and I worked pretty hard together to make these full-time positions and lots of meetings, and I mean now it's all full-time, but back in the day, Bruce was a champion as far as making that happen, and we got full support from the USOC. At my table, my mom. Thank you. That's my mom over there. Still playing tennis. I go down and try and play with her. She runs me all over the court. She's playing against 30 and 40-year-old people and still competing. My dad, who's here also. So this is my dad, and I don't know where I get it from. So he goes to the doctor. Says, they got to do a little test on his heart. So he goes, okay. He walks out and tests himself. He goes on a 6-mile hike. Let's see how that heart's doing. Said it felt fine. Okay, I guess I'll go back to the doctor. Doctors don't know what they're doing, but we'll do that. My brother Tim and his family is here. If you still have Pace videos, that was my brother. He was the film guy, okay, during that time. We have Brenda and Pete's edits still on the, we save those for when we need appropriate to put those out. Lamo group. I have a Lamo group of people that are here for La Marinda Water Polo. It's absolutely awesome that you guys came down, and I truly, truly appreciate it. I think we're having a great time and doing some fun things with the club, and I appreciate you coming. Adam Wright. I love what's going on at UCLA. My love and passion is with the UCLA men's program. I know you're doing the women now, so I'm getting my head around that also when we're here. But with those guys, it's great. Last Friday, being up in the Bay Area with guys that played when I played, when you played, guys that are just getting done and playing and hanging out, and what we're doing is tremendously special. love the talks and what we're doing and things like that, so it's awesome. I got kind of a little bit completely together, but then separate on thing, James and Kim. We all still talk about the ODP days. Those were truly magical. We worked really, really hard and we had a lot of fun. Kim's personally in my life and it's made a world of difference in my life, so I'm tremendously appreciative of that. We're all kind of recreating the magic, hopefully, at Lumberanda that we had during that time, so it's fun. Last two things and I'm done. I've had unbelievable staffs. You should see these people as far as like what happened during that time. The players were great, but I'm talking people like Chris Duplanty, Kyle Kopp, Rachel Verano, Heather Moody, Bernice Orwig, Kyle Utsumi, Kim Everest, Alan Sema, Michelle Pickering. Fortunate for everybody here in the program, I wasn't the smartest person in the room. That's a bright group. We did a lot of great things, and everybody was there for the right reasons. Really dedicated to the sport, put a number of things in place. The conversations we had, the things we put together and things like that, the challenges that they gave toward me and what we're trying to do was incredible. Last thing, this 2018 class, coming in with it, man, what a class. It's a pretty cool class. For myself personally, it's really cool. I know Chris isn't here starting, so Chris Humbert is my first experience of not sleeping at night. So in 1991, we played Cal in the NC2A championship game. I didn't sleep the night before. We had a nice semifinal win. You go from one of those, you feel great. Back then, that was when it was used to be 8 teams and stuff like this, and we had a great semifinal, and then all of a sudden you realize you're playing Cal, and how are you going to stop Humbert? It's sleepless. And I don't know if we ever actually, well, we didn't completely solve it. Tremendous. I had the privilege, John Vargas asked me to coach with the team in 97. We were at the 97 FINA Cup in Athens. And to be sitting on the bench and you have the best player in the game was remarkable. The clinic he put on and what he did during that week of that tournament was simply phenomenal. I can still see the turns, I can still see the backhands, the competition, what he did. We ended up winning gold, and Chris definitely led us. So such an impactful player in our country. I played for Scott Hinman. So hackers, iHack, we got some iHack people back, original iHackers back there. Eric Lindroff didn't make the 82 team. When it was 82, it was probably Ecuador or something like that. So he's hanging out and helping. That was my first year playing with iHack and with Scott Massey and Scott Hinman, and Eric's in there. And like, this is where it's all generational. And it is through the people like Monty and Ken and everybody that goes through, everybody gives back. So Eric Lindroff's in the water helping a bunch of college kids try to become better water polo players during that time. But the years with the Hackers were great during that time. Scott was phenomenal. We won nationals in 1984 up at Cal. I still remember back in those days you didn't play out, so we won the championship before the tournament actually finished. So we had won and the game was still playing. But that time in my life, besides like with Tom Hermstead, Scott Hinman, Scott Massey, the guys that are playing during that time are tremendously, tremendously important. Heather Petrie, the reason we went to Sydney was because of you. Your positivity that came into our group made a world of difference. We were struggling during that time, and you just loved it. You were the first person that actually I was coaching that group that actually loved what we were doing, and it became infectious. If you ever read, it's the Bear Bryant book, I can't remember, just read the Bear Bryant book about Texas A&M days. That's kind of 1999 USA Women's Water Polo. It was pretty tough during that time, but Pete came in, Monkey came in too, and Monkey was just athletic. She just didn't know what the hell was going on. But you were totally keyed in, totally loving it, totally whatever you wanted to do. You'd sit in meetings, what do you want me to do? And it changed our whole dynamic of our team during that time. And I still remember you guys talking to Peter Ash in 99 at the Holiday Cup, and in a 2-week, 3-week time period, Heather's at Cal, and then she's with us training. We go to Palermo, we get it done, and we end up at the Olympic Games. The story with Brenda, just end like toward that, and the group in that 2000 team, The story of Brenda, what people wouldn't know, not those type of stories. That's later, during that time. So Brenda was she came off the bench for us in the '99 FINA Cup. So Brenda and I she missed a flight even to come into full-time training in '99, and it was great talking to Bruce congratulations to the International Hall of Fame and going through all that stuff. And she didn't even know if she's going to train. She didn't trust me as a coach. Am I going to play? She was used to playing. I didn't like her defense. We were going back and forth as far as that part goes. And she comes off the bench, plays a little role in the FINA Cup. And I go to watch a junior practice in the summer of '99, probably about 3 weeks after we didn't first qualify. Here's this player, driving, moving, scoring, passing, talking. And I go, this is how a good coach I am. I'm telling you guys, it's everybody I just talked about, the reason I'm standing here. So I go, hey, that was great. You look great out there. And she goes, oh, I can do that? Yeah, that'd be a good idea. It was magic after that, during that time. So her competitive spirit, her leadership during the time, both, see where Nicole's here also, saw Gubba earlier with that group, with Heather and Brenda, been there the whole time, through all of it during that time, and it's very much appreciative. Thank you again to USA Water Polo. Sorry it took too long. Thank you to the Hall of Fame committee. Keep it going, you guys. It's really important. There's more people who got to get in, and we got to do those things. It's a fabric of our sport with what we do. And congratulations to all the other inductees. Thank you.